All right, y'all. First and foremost, give all praises. First and foremost, give all praise to you. How about you, Master Patha? And salute to all the brothers and sisters scattered across the four corners, teaching His word with sincerity and charity. Just wanted to, just dealing with a debate with Elder Mike Holloway and Captain Tazaryach. This is just about 2 years ago. They do have an upcoming debate next week, but pretty much on the same topic. I think is who are the Gentiles and who is salvation for. So let's do that same play real quick. I want to just deal with a point that was in Maccabees, and to help you Christian apologists understand that you need to know the whole text. You can't. You have to know what Israelites are studying, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to debate the Trinity, you have to understand the different aspects of the Trinity. All right. If you want to debate the virgin birth, you got to understand the different aspects of the virgin birth. What does immaculate conception mean? What are they actually saying? What does is Christ eternal mean? What are they trying to say with that? It's just certain things you have to know if you want it. You got to study their stance also. The opposing stance.
I showed you
in the beginning of this debate, a blessing.
I showed you in Ephesians that this was a mystery that had not been made known. Right?
You know why?
It was hold on, wait. Let me finish this one point. Jeremiah made it known about Judah and Israel, right? Mm-hmm. Hosea made it known about Judah and Israel, or the Israel that not my people shall be my people, right? Right. But what you are failing to see is that this mystery, which was in other generations not made known, this revelation that was given. So you can't make that about Israel.
I'm gonna show you something. I'm gonna show you something. When you go to the book of Maccabees in the Apocrypha, and you go to First Maccabees 1 and 15, this will help you understand what I'm saying. Uncircumcised don't mean non-Israelite. So in Maccabees, it says, and made them.
So that's what, and just what I'm saying. You have to define stranger, Gentiles. You have to be prepared to do that on both sides. And he's going here to define uncircumcision, and he's not to define it, but to prove that Israel can be under that also. They can fall under the label of the uncircumcision.
Themselves uncircumcised, body bag, made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and was sold to do mischief. So when you're saying who is the uncircumcised, you have to look at the context. This is my point. I'm not saying
the context of Romans, not the context of Maccabees. The context of Romans.
Maccabees is before you get to Rome. If we're going,
I agree with you there.
Okay, no sweat. So if we're going historically, not only did they become uncircumcised.
See how Elder Mike did that little twitch? Let me go back. You got to read that body language. Did that little twitch. Mike's uncomfortable in that book of Maccabees. He really want to tell him, man, throw that thing in the trash. But you got to set those ground rules, especially if you don't agree with those books. Now, I agree with Maccabees. I think it's a historical book that should have been in the text. I'm not mad at the reason that it's not in the text. For me, I'm not mad about it. But it is a historical book, which gives a historical count on things that really did happen. All right. But it's different reasons I've seen for why they took him out.
So if we're going historically, not only not only did they become uncircumcised,
and apologies if that's a twitch or something, because it could be a twitch or something. So apologies for that. But I'm thinking it's just body language of what just happened with that first Maccabees.
So if we're going historically, not only did they become uncircumcised, what you find out in the Maccabees is that the Greeks made it illegal to be a Jew. So now you had to forsake everything. So
I agree with that also.
Okay. Then.
He agrees with that, but he don't have a comeback.
And so now when we know history, you're supposed to look at the history and say, okay, Israel gave up the law of circumcision. So now these men in Rome,
and that's what I'm saying. When did they do that? You know, when did they do that? When did they give up circumcision? You know, these other Israelites really, we use that second address. I think it was like 13. When they already supposed to be gone. After the Syrian captivity, they supposed to went to America, according to a lot of One West doctrine. Those folks not even supposed to be there. You may have a remnant there, but also they weren't really keeping the law. Northern Kingdom wasn't really keeping the law. So why do they need somebody now to tell them, hey, y'all need to stop circumcising? Who even knows that they were still circumcising? But the way they were keeping it a different way, just not according to the Most High. So I would think they would, but just for argument's sake, if I was on the opposing end, I would have said, man, how you even know they were doing that when they hadn't been keeping the law, period. They haven't been really keeping the law. This is why they got, banished and scattered through the four corners. But Elder Mike doesn't know the One West doctrine. This is why Paul was such an essential tool, because he was going to be battling opposing Jews. And as a Pharisee, he knows the traditions of the Pharisees. He knows their doctrine. He knows the doctrine of the and Yahushua Christ did also. I knew the doctrines between the Pharisees, the Sadducees. Knew how to navigate around the Herodians. Had Roman Paul had Roman citizenship, so he can always throw that card out there in case the opposing Jews, the unbelieving Jews who constantly tried to throw him in prison, constantly tried to persecute him, stoned him, beat him with sticks, gave him stripes, and so forth.
Some Israelites.
This said, when I'm saying Israel, I'm not saying every single one. Peter is an example of not doing it, James. So you got some that are not. But when it's saying that they made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy.
And see, this is the issue. This is another issue. Let's go to First Maccabees. Let's go to First Maccabees here. That's not what I want.
I showed you.
My bad, y'all. We want to go here. First Maccabees. He's reading 115. All you gotta do is go over a chapter. This is First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 45. It says, then Mattathias and his friends went round about and pulled down the altars. See, this thing didn't last. Where we had the prohibition of, calling ourselves Jews and being able to keep Sabbaths and all of that, when that stuff was going on, that only lasted a few years. Mattathias, and then they tried to make them defile the temple and so forth. Mattathias and them stood up against that trash and fought against these people. And you see the next chapter over, here we are, and verse 46, and what children soever they found within the coast of Israel uncircumcised, those they circumcised valiantly. So why is it saying children? Because like I said, it didn't last but a few years. Anybody else of age would have been already circumcised, or attempting to still uncircumcise themselves, but they already circumcised. So all the children during that period, all the babies that were born during this particular period, Mattathias went around and made sure that those kids got circumcised. And so then you can understand, then we see Mattathias actually, let's keep going here, and they pursued also after the proud men, and the work prospered in their hand. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles and out of the hand of kings. Neither suffered they the sinner to triumph. Now, when the time drew near that Mattathias should die, he said unto his sons, now have pride and rebuke gotten strength, and the time of destruction and the wrath of indignation. Now, therefore, my sons, be zealous for the law and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. Okay. So they have everything back. That's why we celebrate the Feast of Dedication or Hanukkah. You know, we know this story of Mattathias triumphant, but we stopped there. As Israelites, we stopped there. And we don't know that it's 150 years before Christ is born that we don't have that history, where we're not going over that history. The history is there. We just don't go over it. And so we don't understand the Hasmonean dynasty. We don't understand that we were kings and that Israel had actually a queen over them, and we had our own money. All right, we was and what's a vassal state, and we was a vassal kingdom under Rome, and the treaties that we signed with Rome. This is why we have in John 8:32 when Christ is telling them the truth will set them free. The Pharisees like, man, we of Abraham's seed. We ain't no darn slaves. We ain't never been no slaves, because those people weren't born under captivity. They were born under, taxation or tribute to Rome. But they, they puffed up after that Hasmonean. They don't even know that John Hyrcanus, one of the Hasmoneans under Mattathias lineage, that he converted, destroyed. He destroyed Edom. He destroyed the Samaritans, and so we don't even know why that beef is so crazy. Well, Israel went in there and conquered Samaria and destroyed their temple. That's why the woman at the well point up there, yeah, we used to worship up here. This is what they said the fathers used to say, but they ain't. But there ain't no temple up there. She ain't pointing at. She ain't pointing at nothing. They ain't doing that no more. And this is why the beef is so crazy too between them two. Where they're not even letting Christ come in, to go to the Passover. But that's all I wanted to deal with, y'all. Eldam, if he knew this, he could Tazaryach was puffed up, said, "Hey man, body bag, got him. We was on. This is how we celebrate. We uncircumcised." But you turn the page, and you see that they're already uncircumcised. They're already going back and circumcising themselves after they've, won that war, won that battle, doing that, trying to come at them during the Sabbath. And they think, hey man, we finna fight back. After that, that was it, man. We went back to the law. And he told his sons, man, be zealous for the law and be ready to give your life for the covenant. And the reality of this is that if you're under the impression that the northern kingdom is in America already, they haven't seen any of this. They haven't witnessed any of this that's going on. They're not there. But you got to know these doctrines. That's, and that's one of the advantages. I've come out of this, and so I know the doctrines. You know what I'm saying? And not that I've come out, I'm still in it, but I've come out of certain doctrines that's been problematic. So I don't believe that's Northern Kingdom. You can't hold on to both. So I still hold on to blacks. I still hold on to Latinos, Native Americans, our Israelites, and was over here in America. And so with me holding on to that, I can't hold on to the fact that during Christ's time, the nation of the Northern Kingdom is running around Israel. There are a few. They are a remnant. They weren't all taken into the Syrian captivity, but those that we see in the text, they're not called Gentiles. They're called Israelites. They're called by their tribe. And what's crazy too is that the sister that's called by her tribe of the Northern Kingdom knew the prophecy of the Messiah coming. And she was there to watch him get, I think it was his circumcision. She was there at the temple while he got, when Christ got circumcised, understanding exactly who he was. But I render, man, I hope this thing was edifying to the body, man. Y'all be blessed. Y'all stay tuned for that debate, man. That's probably gonna be a good one, man. It's gonna be a good one that we can glean through, and we'll probably do like a review video on that also. But Israel, remember some of the things I said, and if you're not an Israelite, and you trying to be on the opposing view, you must learn the doctrine of the opposing view. If you're gonna debate, if you're trying to debate, or you're trying to get understanding, or you're trying to convert one, you have to know these things. We was reading that also in was it Acts 19? No. Was it Acts 19? It might have been Acts 18 or 19 where Paul went to Mars Hill. The Mars Hill sermon. And Paul knows about the poets of those Athenians and strangers of Athens. See, you could be, well, I ain't gonna get into that, but he understood some of their philosophy, and he seen the altar that they had of the unknown God, and he used that in the knowledge of some of their doctrines and philosophies and ideologies, and he spent it in a way that they can understand Yahweh and his son that he sent down here to die for our sins. Y'all be blessed, y'all.